Welcome to Thursday Thoughts, your weekly dose of real, honest conversation on all things personal growth. These are the chats Lucy and I love having every week over on Instagram. They're unfiltered, unedited, and always rooted in practical tools and a dose of inspiration. Let's dive in.
So I'll let you start off because this was your suggestion. I'm not sure how much I'm going to have to say about this one, but I'm sure we'll.
I'm sure we'll. So today, I thought that we could talk about today about we spend so much time kind of always sometimes thinking forwards, or we spend so much time working our butts off, which is all well and good if you love what you do and it's all great. But sometimes I think it's very easy to forget to truly enjoy life, enjoy this moment. But also on top of that, to enjoy the experiences and to give yourself permission to enjoy experiences. Because I think and a friend of hers, I've taken her away post GCSEs.
Holly, say that again, love. You cut out.
Oh God, is it not very good reception?
Well, okay. You just froze for a minute.
So I'm in Crete with my daughter. So I'm here for a girls' few days, 6 days, post her GCSEs for the summer. And it would be very easy for me to think, and it's crossed my mind, I should be working. I shouldn't be doing this. I shouldn't be spending my money, on just kind of coming away, post GCSEs for Lula, is that spoiling her, whatever, all these things going through my mind of like, should I be giving myself the experience? And it's allowed and not feeling guilty for it. I think this is the big question, because I think so often we'll do something for ourselves. And then we have this terrible guilt, I shouldn't have done that. You might go and buy that dress you've had your eye on for ages, spent more money than you thought you might do. And then you buy it, and then it's like, oh God, I shouldn't have done it. And you feel like you should take it back. Or, I've been to some amazing gigs recently, 2 concerts. I went to Harry Styles, I went to Olivia Dean, amazing. I spent money on those tickets. And, they weren't the cheapest tickets in the world. And I had moments of like, oh God, should I be doing that? It's like, but actually the experience itself was bloody amazing of both of those things. So I think what I'm trying to say is like, do we give ourselves permissions to truly enjoy life now as it is, and the experiences that that are out there to be enjoyed, without feeling guilty that we're not working, we're not spending our money, we're not allowed to do it. We have to wait until, it's that whole thing of like, I'll do it when I've lost the weight, when I've got enough money, when I've completed my to-do list, which never ever finishes, or whatever it might be. It's like, can we give ourselves permission now to do the things and live our life now? Because we're not put on this earth, I believe, to just pay bills and survive and grind. We're here to live, and part of that, yes, is fulfilling a purpose and that wider thing that when our work gives many of us. Part of that is that's a big part of it, but equally we've got to enjoy it. We've got to enjoy it now, because we don't want to get to 85 and suddenly go, oh my God, I've just spent my whole life just waiting to earn enough, to do enough, to be enough, until when? Until then you're so old that it's kind of passed you by.
Yeah, I mean, it's an interesting one, isn't it? And certainly it makes me think about myself, and this is something that I've realised I'm really quite bad at, because I think when you work for yourself and you're running your own business, I personally find that I never switch off. I'm never not thinking about it. And even when I'm doing other things, and, speaking of gigs, I was at a gig myself, Mumford & Sons, on Saturday. And, even when I'm in that situation, in the back of my mind, I'm still thinking about something to do with my business, which is not great. And I mean, I definitely feel like I need to learn how to better just enjoy, like you say, just enjoy things without thinking you've got to do this and you've got to do that and you should be doing that, and feeling the guilt about that. And I think it's partly just because of the culture that we live in, because we're just so conditioned to think that, you hustle. You work really, 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 really hard to earn happiness, earn joy, earn the thing. And exactly like you say, we're not put on this earth to pay bills and die. And that seems to be how so many of us live our lives. And you're so right, Polly. It's so true. We need to just be able to, live. And just that's what we're here for. We're here to live as good a life as possible. And unfortunately, I think that goes down to the bottom of many of our priority lists because we're so worried about. And I think also we're so busy. I hate that fucking word, but we're so busy all the time doing this, doing that. By the way, sorry if there's a banging. Of course, the bin men are right outside at this moment. Look, I don't know. Can you hear loads of banging in the background or not too bad?
No.
Okay, fine.
None at all.
I've completely lost my train of thought. What was I saying?
It's about. I think you were saying something like, we have to. We're not put on this earth just to pay the bills.
Yes.
We're here to
yes
to really
live.
try and just live. That's what it's all about.
Yeah.
It's about living, and it's about and I hate that word balance because I don't think it's works. There is no work-life balance or anything like that because if you love your work, then obviously you love it and you want to do as much as you can. But I think what I'm trying to say here, it's about, are you allowing yourself to reap the rewards of what you are doing? And really enjoy it. You can enjoy the work and you can enjoy going to a gig and not and really losing yourself in it and enjoying it for what it is, or going on holiday and not feeling guilty about it, or buying the great pair of jeans you've saved up for and really enjoying them without feeling guilty about it. And I think in this, obviously there's a few money stories that we might be carrying, and it doesn't have to be about money. I'm not saying it has to be about money. Sometimes it can simply be going for a beautiful walk and giving yourself that time and not feeling guilty for that time away. Or, it doesn't have to be financial at all, but I think a lot of it can be linked sometimes with that financial element, because ultimately why are most of us working? Okay, we took for a purpose to achieve, to make an impact in the world. That's definitely one of my big priorities, but equally we need to earn a bloody living. We need to fund ourselves, and so that's a huge part of it. So if we're then, but are we just focusing on bringing it in rather than actually putting it back out again and making the world go round and enjoying it in the process and giving ourselves really cool experiences? And this is something I've really grappled with as well myself. It really is something I've grappled with, is the guilt, is the constant guilt. I've always thought of myself as someone who's very low maintenance, don't need a lot of stuff, or, I'm just not that kind of person. And yet, and so I've struggled with that, going on really nice holidays, or, feeling a little bit guilty. But actually, I'm really learning. It's like, fuck that. No, enjoy it. Be in the moment. We make it. This is it. Why not? You've got to actually. It's about giving yourself permission.
Yeah.
I really believe that. And particularly as women, we are so conditioned from society to just give to everybody else, put ourselves last on that list. And actually, it's like, no, we deserve to fully enjoy the moments. Without that, it's that guilt which is always sort of niggling in the background.
I will only ever recommend brands that I know, love and use myself. And one of those is Ancient and Brave. Honestly, they've become part of my daily habits. The very first thing I do every morning is pour myself a big glass of water with their True Hydration in it. It feels like such a simple ritual, but it really sets me up for the day. And I know I'm properly rehydrating with their blend of electrolytes and minerals, especially before I exercise, which I always do in the morning. Then later on, when I make my coffee, I stir in their True Collagen powder into the coffee. Now, it blends in straight away, no fuss, there's no taste, and collagen is something we naturally lose as we age, but it's so important for our skin, joints, and overall vitality. Now, I'll be honest, Ancient and Brave may cost a little more than some of the tubs you'll spot on supermarket shelves, but the difference is you're getting the highest quality ingredients, sourced with integrity and tested to a higher standard, and absolutely no nasties added. That's why I trust them and why I think they're worth every penny. And because I want you to be able to try them out for yourself, I've got a special offer for you. As a listener of this podcast, you can get 20% off your very first order. All you need to do is click the link in the show notes and pop in the code POLLYW20 at checkout. They've got more than just collagen and hydration too. They've got creatine, they've got blends, supplements. So it's a perfect chance to explore their range and make the most of that 20% off.
And also, I think, like, you know, here we are at the beginning of July and half the year's already gone. And I think we have to ask ourselves, don't we, like, when I get to the end of this year, will I look back and feel like I really relished it and really enjoyed it? Or will I look back and think, that's just another year that's just kind of disappeared without really paying attention? Because ultimately, that's what it's about, isn't it? It's about paying attention in the here and now, and making sure that you create those sort of pockets of time. And I try every day and really prioritize finding joy. And whilst, yes, despite what I said just now about how I'm constantly thinking about my business, which I absolutely am, I also very much prioritize finding joy every day in the simple things, and just taking those moments to just really enjoy a walk, or just really look at my gorgeous cat and think, oh my God, I love you so much. And, writing a gratitude journal every morning and things like that. So I think we can start by just finding those moments and prioritizing those moments every single day, to just take a second and just be present. Ultimately, it's about being present, isn't it? It really is about getting present in this moment. And it's like we can't. I think we spend so much of our time kind of with our mind elsewhere. We're either thinking about something in the past, or worrying about something that happened yesterday, or something that we did or we didn't do, or we said or we didn't say, whatever. And also, we spend a lot of time feeling anxiety and worry about the future. And so half the time, the present moment is just passing us by. But the truth is that the present moment is literally all we have. It is literally our life. This moment right now, there is nothing else. And we think of this sort of timeline of like the past, the present, and the future, but really all there is now. The past is gone. The future hasn't happened yet. The present literally is all we have. So I think the key to life is being able to make sure that you are finding those moments every single day in your life where you are truly present to the goodness that you have in your life. And, again, it can be that and it should be those really little things. Like, for example, one thing that I get deep joy from two things. Every single morning I get deep joy. No, three things actually. So number one, I get deep joy from my morning walk. I always go on a walk really early every morning. And it's particularly lovely in the summer because, of course, it's light really early, and it's, the weather's been amazing. So, I can go out without a jacket and, walk by the river, and just that is a moment in my life that I find joy in every single day. And then I get my delicious oat cortado, which gives me so much joy. And it's just noticing those things. And then I make myself a really delicious, nutritious breakfast every single morning. And again, from that, I get so much joy. And I think it's about leaning into those little things. But actually, if you can really enjoy those little things every day in your life, that is the kind of key to living a good and joyful and happy life. Just getting still in those little tiny moments. If you can, it's just so important. And again, going back to the kind of time thing, like, I sometimes think, fucking hell, Lucy, you're just going to, before you know it, 5 years are going to have passed, and you've just been thinking so much about where you're trying to go, or whatever it is that life is just. I sometimes do have that fear of, God, am I just letting life pass me by without actually living it? Aside from those sort of moments that I find every day of little pockets of joy. But the kind of broader picture, am I just letting life pass me by without actually allowing myself to really live it and really enjoy it? And it just comes back to one of my favorite quotes from Mary Oliver's poem, where she says, tell me, what is it you plan to do with your one wild and precious life? And it's a quote that I pull out so often for myself as much as anyone else. But what is it you plan to do with your one wild and precious life? Because we do get so distracted and so caught up because of the society that we live in with work, and busy. And also, I think one of the major problems now in our lives just kind of slipping away from us is fucking screens and social media. How much of our lives are we giving to screens? And I'm talking to myself here as well. I really do try and be really mindful about this. And I don't spend a lot of time scrolling. I really don't. I post every day, but I try and make that the one time I kind of go in to Instagram and, do my post, have a little scroll, and then I'll reply to some comments. But how much of our time are we giving to other people's lives? How much time are we spending watching other people live their lives through social media? I think that's one thing that we really have to take responsibility for, because it's all too easy to just do what everybody else does and spend hours, like not minutes, but hours of our days, watching other people's lives. Because the truth is that if you're on social media watching other people's lives, you're not fucking living your own life. It's as simple as that.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, my gosh. Yeah. I mean, it is all about prioritizing your own joy. And the more we can do that moment by moment, then obviously we're going to be living in that present. And that's ultimately what it is. It's about just enjoying each moment and prioritizing our joy in those moments, whatever you're doing. It doesn't really matter what you're doing, but if you're finding the joy in it, amazing. And yeah, the social media thing is, I must admit, well, this is a prime example. I have really come off social media a lot in probably the last month or so. I've really not posted much. I've really not wanted to. But I equally have not been I just haven't been scrolling, because I find that it sucks up so much of my energy. But then I have constant guilt. Then the guilt comes, because it's like, oh, well, I should be, for my business, I should be posting more. I should be. But I find that it's an energy sucker, for me. It really is. And because if you post, you've obviously got to be on it. So for me, it's a constant battle. And I totally get what you're saying. So I need to get better boundaries myself in it, because I seem to be all or nothing.
I think the thing about it is, like, it's better to create than consume. Like,
yes,
and that's what I do. That's what I do on social media. That's what I do on Instagram. It's like I create in there and then I get the fuck out.
Yeah. Who is it? Someone said, I think was it Steve Jobs or someone said something like, it is better to create than consume. Always create more than you're consuming, because I think that's a really good rule of thumb. Absolutely.
Yeah.
I'm going to hold on to that one. Yeah.
But love, also I completely feel you, because, as you know, I put a reel out pretty much every single day, and it's completely exhausting. Which is another reason why I try and I go in, I post, reply to some comments, get the hell out, because otherwise, it really is such a time suck. And again, I think it's really worth remembering. If you say to yourself as you're scrolling away, what am I actually doing here? Like what am I actually doing in here? Why am I doing this? What am I gaining from this? Because, if somebody asks you the next day, oh, so during your 3-hour scrolling session, in total on Instagram yesterday, tell me, what did you learn? Like, what did people say? You'd probably be like, I actually have no freaking idea. It's not as if the information that comes when you're scrolling, like, you're taking on so much information that it's just literally going in one ear and out the other.
Yeah.
And again, I think it's really important to remember that whilst you are kind of consuming content from other people's lives, that is stopping you from living your own life. And that's a really big deal. you know. So I think
Yeah.
social media
Yeah.
and screens in general have got a lot to answer for in terms of this conversation that we're having about, like, are you living your life?
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. And I think a part of this as well is, being kind to you equally need to be really kind to yourself. I think some of us can be, myself included, it's, we feel like we've got to punish ourselves. It's like, all right, when it's that whole waiting again, it's like, I'll do it when, and we just kind of feel like we've got to just keep going, keep going, keep going, keep going until we have finished our list, or until we have the right money or whatever. And I think that is such a big trap to fall into. It's just like, actually, I'm going to put that aside, and I'm just going to, if there's something I really want to do, just do it now. But also, as you say, find those moments throughout the day to really, be present and find that joy. It kind of, the conversation we've had on glimmers would be so relevant here. It's like, find those joyful glimmers throughout the day to just remind yourself why we're doing everything that we're doing in our lives. Why are we here? And I think we're very, so often we can just be very blinkered into our, we go into we go into the matrix, we go into the autopilot of just, this is what I do, this is how I lead my days, and we follow those routines. But actually, that's why sometimes it's good to break routines, which I've really, I've always been such a routine girl. But more recently, I've been really trying to break those routines, because sometimes that is when sometimes it can feel uncomfortable to break the routine, because we're so used to, we're so conditioned and programmed to do all the things we do. But actually, sometimes it's like, oh, okay, there's something else out here for me, away from that routine. I can do things slightly differently, and it's about finding the joy in that. And that sometimes can be a good way to kind of wake up different parts of your brain to other ways of doing it. Sometimes, just simply taking a different route, a different path. If you always walk the same walk, go a different way, go backwards, do something different. Actually, it's like, oh gosh, there's a walk I do actually really regularly, and it's there's amazing views, and actually my weird Giles always does it backwards. So whenever I go and do it with him,
not
I
literally
always
walking backwards, I assume.
well, actually, sometimes walking up the hill backwards, because then you get because actually, fun enough, really. So walking the route backwards, but sometimes also walking backwards up the hill. So he walks up a really steep hill first, and often walks up that hill backwards so that he can get that view. But also, it's very good for you to walk backwards occasionally. But it's good. It kind of is like, it makes you appreciate it in a whole different way. So sometimes it is good to mix it up and spice things up a little bit. Not always perhaps eat the same thing, maybe add something a bit different, or, it kind of, it's like, remind yourself that there's so much joy out in the world. As and we feel comfortable, I think, when we've got the guardrails on and we're doing what we always do, and it feels really comfortable. And yes, it's great. But sometimes this is what I'm learning, mix it up a bit, spice it up a bit, because actually it's like, oh gosh, I might find something new out there as well, and really allow yourself to be in that moment and enjoy it.
Totally. I just think that, the world that we live in has just trained us to be these kind of robots who live these lives where you get up, you go to work, you come home, you go on social media, you watch Netflix. We've been conditioned to think that life is supposed to be hard, and this is what you are supposed to do, and this is how you are supposed to live. But I really don't believe that is the case. Like, that is not why we are here, and the way that most of us live our lives is it's literally because we are going along with this program. Basically, we are going along with what we are told we are supposed to do, and it's actually such bullshit, really, when you think about it. Like, I always think about Jen Sincero from her brilliant book You're a Badass, which is just one of my favorite personal growth books, and I often think about this. She talks about the fact that we are literally these little specks on this, rotating sphere that is flying through the universe. Like, when you actually put it in perspective, you just think, oh my fucking God, why am I worrying about this? Or
I know.
why am I allowing this? Like, when you actually think about the kind of the fleeting moment that we're here on this planet, I think it really helps to just zoom, sort of pan right out and just look at the truth of the sort of vastness of the universe, and how short an amount of time that we're here. You know, this world has been here for like millions of years, and when you think about it like that, when you put it in perspective, I think it allows you to just be a bit more frivolous and a bit more chilled and a bit more kind of footloose and fancy free about your life, you know. And I love thinking about that we're literally, you know, all on this ball that's just like spinning through space. Like,
I
what?
know. Yeah,
What the
it's
hell?
so true.
And when you think
It's
about that, you're just like, why am I worrying about all of these petty things? Like, why do we, you know, why do we give a shit about what other people think? Why? What are we doing? Wasting our time and our energy on things that just are not important.
It's so true. So in my house at the moment, I've got my Felix has just graduated from university, and he's obviously in that place of finding work or finding it, you know, is like the next phase of his life. And it's quite a big deal when you're, you know, at that point in your life. And all I can say to him, I don't know, you know, he's obviously got all his worries. He's got to get the right job. He's got to, you know, and my message to him really is simply, it's like, well, just find, you know, whatever you do, you've got to find the joy in what you do, which no one ever really said to me, actually. It's about finding something you really love. Find the joy in what you do. And make sure that you don't take something because you feel you should, because I think a lot of young people these days are feeling that because there's, you know, the story of there's not many jobs out there, you know, and it's tough, everything's difficult. So I just think that's what we could all just think about a bit more. It's like, are you doing the thing where you love it, or there's an element of something you really enjoy about it, or are you doing it because you feel you should be doing it? And I think that's, many of us are probably doing things because we feel that we should be doing it because it's good enough. It's what society has told us to do, because it's, well, you know, it's a safety net. And yes, again, you know, we all need money, we all need to live, but there's got to be something in it that lights us up, that is joyful. Because otherwise, as we've said, you know, what is the bloody point? It's gotta be good. So, oh gosh, it's a tough one, you know, it's a tough one for those young people going out into the world, and, you know, there's all these societal pressures on them to become something, like, you know, but it's like, what is it you're striving? Is it that external validation, as well as obviously the financial rewards? But do you need someone to say, oh yes, you've got a great job? Or, you know, what is it you're doing for? Are you doing it for yourself? Are you doing it because it genuinely is exciting you and lighting you up and bringing you that joy? Or, you know, if you can kind of try and get to the crux of that, because, you know, I know, you know, we personally, so much has been in the past about really needing that external validation of what I'm doing. And that, you know, but ultimately that is, you're chasing something, and actually probably when you get it, it's not going to bring you joy. So it's got to light you up.
Yeah, exactly. And also we cannot look to external people to validate our own lives. We have to be able to, like, the only person we're in competition with is ourselves, ultimately. Maybe that's something we can talk about next week. So I think that's a really important topic, actually.
Yeah, exactly.
You know. Well, I think I'm nearly done, baby.
Yeah, there's a couple of, can you see, there's a couple of comments.
Oh, I see one here. Happiness is about bringing your focus into the smaller things. The tiny details are always there. We don't notice them when we are zoomed out and stressed and too busy. It's so true. Creating in general or creating online content? Oh, creating in general or creating online content specifically. I think we were talking about online. We were talking about like social media in that conversation. Did you see that comment, Polly?
No.
If you find the joy, it doesn't even feel like work. Ditch the shoulds. Yes, very well said. Poggle Rock, I love it. Fraggle Rock. Remember Fraggle Rock?
I know, yeah, Fraggle Rock.
Down in Fraggle Rock.
I used to. We've got a place in Brighton. There's a bar in Brighton called the Tempest, which I always say, "Oh my god, it's Fraggle Rock." 'Cause it looks
Really?
like the caves from Fraggle Rock. Yeah.
Oh my God.
Anyway, go off on a tangent. All right,
Oh,
love,
well, look, babe,
perfect.
have a fab time in Crete. Enjoy every
Thank
moment.
you. I will.
Do.
Thank you.
All right, love.
All right,
Speak
okay.
to you next week. Lots of love.
Yeah,
Take
take
care.
care.
Bye, babe. Bye.
Bye.